Alright, hello everyone, hope you're all well, hope you're all staying safe. In today's video, I am once again going to be looking at this supposed No Man's Sky summer update leak which has been posted to 4chan. I have looked at this leak in previous videos and I've used it to support some speculation about the summer update, and even though I have done this, I am yet to actually break it down, talk about the validity of it, and actually look at what this leak has got correct so far. So in today's video, I want to look at what it has gotten right so far, what can be taken from this leak, and conclude as to why I believe this leak is indeed onto something. So as always, before we begin, I do really quickly want to plug my Discord and my Patreon, both of which will be in the description of the video. Please do check them out if you feel like supporting me or being a part of the MZK community. Alright, so this original 4chan leak was uploaded on the 30th of May 2020. First of all, the leak mentions that a content update will drop mid-June with weekly missions that resemble an ARG and will also hint towards the contents of this summer update. So far, we have only had weekly missions which do have plenty of suggestive content, but we haven't had an update as such. This is supposedly still coming, as it is supposed to drop around the middle of June. So this story content included in the community mission includes a ton of hints towards a new enemy, a possible antagonist, or a focus on combat. Please do check out my other video where I delve into the lore of these story missions as I go into a lot more detail, but to sum it up, the leak has gotten this right to a certain extent. The lore which we have been given does most definitely seem to hint towards a combat update, as we know, and although I don't think this is the supposed in-game ARG that we're supposed to get, it most definitely does seem to suggest that something bigger is coming. Now importantly, the source also states about a new enemy race with improved combat elements on foot and in air, with special reference to the exomech making a lot more sense as this update is revealed. So the community mission lore mentions the Abyss. The Abyss is a supposed antagonist to the Atlas, so a new raced enemy is definitely possible. Potentially, this new enemy could be Korvax that have had their minds controlled by the Abyss, they've become corrupted, and they are trying to fight us or other alien races. Either way though, this leak has seemed to got this right. We do have weekly missions and we do have a lot of story content which on its own does not make a lot of sense, but when you read between the lines a little bit and look at what it's actually suggesting, yes, it does seem to imply that something bigger is coming. And obviously this is Hello Games and they are very aware that the community enjoys the lore of No Man's Sky. They are not going to half-ass this or put in stuff which they know is not going to go anywhere, because they understand that we love to look into this stuff and speculate about it. Also in this leak, Crossplay. Crossplay was spoken about this leak weeks before it was announced, and I'm not necessarily saying that this confirms anything, you know, it could definitely just be a coincidence, but with the combat and community mission being correct as well, this seems quite likely. Bearing in mind this leak as well came out a good few weeks before Crossplay came out, and so far, yes, it's got Crossplay and the weekly missions right. Now I do want to talk a little bit about the wording and the language of the leak itself, because the problem with leaks half the time is that they are so poorly written or so clearly inaccurate that it's incredibly difficult to believe. This leak is definitely readable, you know, compared to some other leaks I've seen. It is 100% you know, written by a native English speaker and not some Eastern European man popping it into Google Translate. At least I don't think so. But I mean, the phrases whether you believe it or not is your choice just seems like a blatant attempt to create validity, and this is such a cliche for leaks. It always seems like leakers, when they are trying to prove that something is right, always goes back to this very second person kind of personal way of going about it, being like, I know this is true, but it's down to you if you believe me. This isn't uncommon by any means, and as I said, seems to come up a lot, and when it does come up, you do kind of have to raise an eyebrow because it is so cliched and stereotypical, it's slightly laughable. So yeah, the language is debatable, and also it's vague. Like, it's very, very vague. and you would wonder that if this guy who supposedly has inside information from a friend was really telling the truth, then you would probably include a little bit more detail, or maybe you would purposely keep it vague in order to, I don't know, avoid legality and, you know, getting sued by Hello Games or some bullshit like that. I don't know, but it does seem vague, and it seems a little bit too vague, if I'm being honest. The thing is, right, we have something which makes this whole situation a lot more interesting, because this leak which we've just spoken about has actually been deleted from 4chan. You can't find this leak anymore. I'm having to use the old photos from the past like 2 videos which I've made. Now, importantly, the same user that posted this original leak made an updated post which he also uploaded to 4chan, basically saying that his original post was removed and that they were right about crossplay and story related missions. They are definitely not wrong. They did 100% get this right, but just because this post was supposedly deleted by an admin or by Hello Games, as this person speculates, doesn't really mean anything. I mean, this could have been deleted by an admin for abusing rules, it could be blatantly incorrect and they don't want this kind of shit on 4chan, or maybe, and probably more likely, this user just deleted it and decided to do another one to make it seem like it's more genuine. But again, I'm being quite cynical, you know, and I know it's natural to be very pessimistic when it comes down to these leaks, but so far, this leak is probably one of the most credible leaks we have received so far from No Man's Sky. And also, one thing as a little side note that I've literally just remembered, this same guy has supposedly done leaks for other games as well, one of which includes Elite Dangerous, where he leaked the big update that lets you go on foot on planets. I don't play Elite Dangerous, I don't know what it is, but he apparently got this right, as well as some other leaks, I think towards Star Citizen maybe, or other space games. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. If he managed to get other leaks correct, and here he is posting about No Man's Sky, and so far has got 2 parts of it correct, it's kind of hard to ignore. But again, the final phrase in this updated post, "I know the truth," just seems so bait and so out of place, you know. Whenever you read stuff like this where it's like, I know I'm right, but it's up to you if you believe me, you kind of roll your eyes a bit because you're like, I've seen this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen this. This isn't new at all, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a fucking downer. But yeah, this leak, as I've said a million times already, it has got 2 parts of it correct. And also, it's spoken about a procedural generation overhaul as well as a combat overhaul. We know for a fact that the largest area of complaint in No Man's Sky currently is combat and variety, and it's also one of the biggest areas in the game that does need an overhaul, if not the only 2 sections of the game that desperately require an update. We know that the rest of No Man's Sky is pretty solid. You know, we have a lot of gameplay, we have stuff to do in No Man's Sky, but people will always bring up the poor combat and the poor planetary generation. So maybe this guy is telling the truth, or maybe he has cherry-picked what people want to hear and has put this into a post. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it, and I know that I've been quite pessimistic for this video, but seriously, I actually think that this guy is onto something. I seriously find it strange that this guy can predict 2 parts of the update 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance before we know anything about it. And also with mentions of things like planetary rotation, which again is a large community request, and potential next generation ports, this sounds like an ideal update, and maybe I believe it because it seems so good. Because this, if it is true, will quite possibly be one of the greatest updates for No Man's Sky, and by God, I fucking hope it is real. I seriously do. But yeah guys, as always, keep your hype in expectations, but I'm just gonna say it, I slightly believe it. Alright, I don't care if people are gonna heckle me for it, but seriously, predicting 2 things, that seems a little bit beyond a coincidence. Plus, if this guy is reputable with other game leaks, there is quite a bit of evidence, and as I've said before, I think this evidence is pretty hard to ignore. But yeah guys, that's just about all I have to say for today's video. As always, let me know what you think. Do you think this leak is genuine? Do you think it is a very elaborate joke in order to get the community excited? Please do pop your thoughts in the comment section of the video. I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Hope you're all well, stay safe, love you all.